Hey everyone, Greg here. Beautiful evening in Oregon. I know it looks like a dark little place I'm in, but I'm facing the windows right on the other side, and oh, what a beautiful weather we've had. It's starting to cool off at night though now, so my brain's getting that it's time to go back to school signal. But the surveys were fantastic, and I've got one more groups to do. I apologize. I'll have that done in the morning. You've done the surveys exactly right. A survey is only used for one thing, to put a number on the level of a construct. So your surveys on grit and motivation, they're great because somebody would fill out that survey, they would get a score anywhere from 1 to 5, and that would be the value of their grit or their motivation, and then you would use that in a statistical test. So great job on surveys. Now, this week is a little different. This is the hypothesis testing week, or the writing hypothesis. First of all, one of the things that happens with the hypothesis writing is people tend to say, well, I'm in a doctorate program, and they get these hypotheses wrong because they just read way too much into them. This is a week in the course where there are right and wrong answers, and that's basically about it. Because this is standard quantitative research, and so your research question has to be answered quantitatively. So case studies and that kind of thing, that doesn't apply now because this is your quantitative methods course. So first of all, I want to show you a quick little problem here. I get it together with some people and we talk a lot about research and statistics and motorcycles and guitars and great places to go hiking in Oregon. So here's a little problem for you. I have 3 doors, door 1, 2, and 3. And behind one of the doors is a brand new Subaru Outback. And behind the other 2 doors is a goat and a sheep. Subarus are big selling on the West Coast. So here's the problem. Now, let's say you choose door number 1, okay? And you think that's the door the Subaru is behind. Now, I'm going to tell you that it is not door number 3. So you chose 1, and I'm going to tell you that it is not door number 3. So you've got 2 options left. Now, here's the question. Which of the 2 doors is it more likely to be behind? And mathematically, why? So I'll repeat that. You chose door number 1. I said it was not door number 3. So now you have 2 options, 1 or 2. Which one is it more likely the Subaru Outback to be behind? Okay, so that's just a little fun. That's a famous problem. And statistics is all about, it's based in probability. So anyway, okay, on to the hypotheses. Wednesday you have the hypothesis writing assignment. Now you don't need to read the book. You don't need to read too much into this. I'm going to send you precisely how to complete the assignment. And when you get it, I think you're going to go, okay, that's good. That is right to the point. That's how I do this. So that information will be attached to the video. Thursday is the research design assignment. I'm going to give you information on exactly what research designs we'll be using. And Saturday is the group sampling assignment. And each day before that is due, I'll have information for you on how to complete it. Like I say, this is the part that you just have to get it right. So first of all, what is a testable hypothesis? When you write a hypothesis, your hypothesis, there's 2 types of hypothesis. There is a null hypothesis and there is an alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis always indicates no relationship in or no difference between 2 variables. The alternative always represents there is a difference in variables or a relationship between 2 variables. So let me give you an example. So let's say you're researching 8th grade test scores in Alabama and Georgia. And your research question is academic performance in Alabama is higher in 8th grade than it is in Georgia. Well, as we talked about, your research question is just very general, but it is not testable statistically. So you need to create a null hypothesis to see if your research question, if the null hypothesis can be falsified in favor of the alternative hypothesis, which is what you're hoping to find. That's why you're doing the research. So here is the appropriate null hypothesis to go with that research question. It would be as follows. The mean score of the 8th grade state assessment in Georgia is equal to the mean score of the 8th grade state assessment in Alabama. That's it. The two means are equal. That's a null hypothesis. Here is your alternative hypothesis. The mean score of the 8th grade state assessment in Georgia is not equal to the mean score of the 8th grade state assessment in Alabama. Now, what you will do then, not this week but next week, is do a statistical test from two samples to see if that null hypothesis can be rejected in favor of the alternative, which is what you would like to find, and the samples will do that. So, I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to put it up here. The mean score of the 8th grade state assessment in Georgia is equal to the mean score of the 8th grade assessment in Alabama. Null hypothesis is always specified HO. Alternative hypothesis, the mean score in Alabama, blah, 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 is not equal to the mean score in Georgia. All right, so it's that simple. You're going to be using a statistical test to see if there's evidence to reject your null hypothesis in favor of your alternative. And it's about time, if you haven't done it now, and I'm going to send you a few, start looking at quantitative research studies and look at how the hypotheses are set up. They vary very little from the standard format. And if they vary too much, it's not a good study. All right, so we'll spend the week getting these hypotheses correct. So we get the hypotheses correct and the statistics correct, then you're going to be well prepared for the final project and well prepared for starting to write a quantitative dissertation if that's what you choose. Okay, one more example. Their hypotheses can be divided into what's called non-directional or directional. And let me give you the difference, and this is confused quite often. When we said that the mean score in Alabama was equal to the mean score in Georgia, that's called a non-directional hypothesis. Your null hypothesis is that the means are equal. Your alternative is that the means are not equal. Now here is a directional null hypothesis. The mean score in Alabama, big U is mean, population mean, is greater than or equal to the mean score in Georgia. That's the HO. The alternative is that the mean score in Alabama is less than the mean score in Georgia. That's what's called a directional hypothesis. So, hypothesis can either be non-directional or directional, and there's always a null hypothesis and a complementary alternative hypothesis. And so I'm going to give you some very precise a guideline, a guide sheet on this that's attached, and then we're moving forward in the week, and you'll get the habit of writing good hypotheses. And why are you doing it? Well, okay, so let's take some of the surveys. There was one on grit, there was one on motivation. They were very good. So we're running out of time, but you'll see why gathering this data on the survey will allow you to compare, say, the mean score of grit in one county and the mean score of grit in another based on the survey. So it's been a great week. Everybody's doing a great job. I appreciate the very complete hard work. And we've got about 10 seconds. So have a wonderful week and lots of information coming. Okay, thank you. Bye.